Hi guys, this is Ellery here, and so this video is going to show you how to go ahead and set up KODI within Premise so that you'll be able to use your voice to play any type of media actually. So we're going to go here. So this is going to take quite a bit of explanation. That's why the first video was running half an hour, and so I didn't go over. I wanted to cut it off at a half hour and split things up. Because I start to lose attention span myself for around half an hour on something complex like this. So first thing, hopefully you should follow the videos 1 through 7.3. So this should be 7.4. So hopefully you've done all that, and if you've done all that, you should have your KODI library imported. This is just on a sample KODI box I'm playing with in a hotel room. Actually, because I'm traveling right now. So we'll go through with this with you. So first thing you need to do is define for each content provider. So these parent objects here with a little computer looking symbol, and so this TV looking symbol. So these guys at the top here, those are called content providers, okay? And even that guy up there is a content provider. And so in Premise, I had to extend the base class for these content providers to include a media type property. And so you'll want to define this media type property in order to have your sentence be matched to the proper content type. So for the channel providers, just use something like channel, and then the pipe again. It's a regular expression is what's supported, so use an or TV station. I think I already did that on this one. Yep, TV station or channel. Right, the order doesn't matter either, so it's a regular expression. So same thing with music video. I just use music video for that. TV shows. Now, TV shows have a couple things under it. You'll notice there's a series folder, a season folder, and an episode. And so those are the four ways to define those. And then music, there's an album folder, and then there's songs under that album, right? So you want to have album and song. I mean, it's not rocket science. And then movies, you want to have you'll have a movie, right? And you also actually have box set folders. And that's my main install. I got a bunch of box sets. And so I actually import the box set containers using the information from KODI, and then those are populated with the movies. And then there's also standalone movies, right? And then those will also be directly under KODI movies. So that's how the import function works. So let me check. So if you weren't sure, so say you don't know what to type, right? You want things to work and you don't know whether you should type box set or movie or just movie. So if you want to add something to this, I'll show you where to customize it at. So you can go down, not under there, process command natural language. So I'm under the speech parser module. And then this is the very first part is first thing before it goes and hunts for devices to change the property states of. It's actually going to try to attempt to play some media content. And you'll notice this regular expression here. So those dot question marks, so that basically is just in case, Google or the Amazon Echo mishears you and thinks you said like play the or play of or something like that. But at any rate, this is a little extra padding, 3 characters of padding, and then you got a space somewhere. Well, also, this would cover like the case for played, P-L-A-Y-E-D, right? And then you got a word boundary, and then you got a space. But I don't want to get too much into regular expressions. For the box set question, you'd want to see if it's in this logic right here, so the first regular expression group. So you notice it's not, right? So you could go ahead and add it if you wanted to. Just to keep things simple, we're just going to leave it with movie. And again, we're on approximately line 66. You know, the line number is subject to change, but that's down in the lower right-hand corner in Premise Builder. So we'll go down to, or back up, change, get rid of box set. Just leave it as a movie. It'll work fine for you. However, you know, may think about adding box sets later if that's a, you know, bunch of people want it. So what's supported in the way of starting stuff with your voice? Well, let's go back and study this regular expression some more. Well, we see we have to say the word play or played, right, and then followed by a little, you know, character padding there. And then you have to tell it what you want it to play, right? So that can be a TV station, or you could say channel, or movie, or song, or album, episode, series, season, music video, right? And so all those options get matched up under this media content, gets matched up to a certain provider, right? And so once that provider's matched up, then the script will go through that provider and try to find a match. So that's the first part. And then after that, we have some, you know, anything basically, followed by, oh, here, let me tell you what, let me make some more room so it's easier to watch. Followed by, and right, so you can have anything, and dot star is basically wild card for anything. So that would be the title of whatever it is you want it to do, right? And so in and on, those are in there just in case it's misinterpreted by Amazon Echo, thinks you said and the master bedroom or and the master bedroom. So that's what, or on the master bedroom. That's why those are there. Then you got some more character padding though, just in case the thing still doesn't, you know, get it right. Which sometimes, usually it's pretty good. Like my watch is near probably 99.5% accurate at this point. But there is some training involved, you know, with these things. You just have to use it, you know, multiple times a day. And I'd say after a month, it's going to be 99.5 or 0.8% as far as the accuracy of the speech detection. So we would finish this off, so you could say in, right, and then there's a space, and then the word the, and then that last group is to catch the actual room location. And that's kind of what these sub-matches are. These match up with the groups. And groups are those little, you know, parentheses. So there's 3 groups up there defined by what's within the parentheses for each set. So that data gets pulled down to here, and then there's some global scripts that do some processing. So the bottom line is you have to say play, and then you have to say a content type. So you could say play, song, you know, on, and the master bedroom. And the script will just work and automatically find all your media, right? Well, almost. Couple things you need to do is go and define for each song just some like default search property, okay? So how you do that, that's actually done with a script. And so we do that by toggling, where'd I put the guy at? Yeah, there's a property. Oh, here it is at the bottom. It figures. So set media voice expressions. So you just toggle that true once. And what that guy does, it'll automatically go through all your songs. And it'll set this default search property for you. So you don't have to do that, which is nice, right? However, you have the option down here with user definable search. If there's a song that's not quite working for you, like say Google and the Amazon Echo, or better yet, say the Amazon Echo puts a space there and Google doesn't. Well, there you go. You can use a pipe right? That's an OR statement, and then you can put rim shot there and rim space shot and cover all the circumstances, and the thing will just work for you. And notice like this intro part and this parentheses here, that gets removed from the default search, right? And that's because you'd never say that, right? Just like you'd never say mix number 9 or freestyle skit. Although, you know, someone later, or I can later come back and make it do that if give you guys an option. But the bottom line is you're typically just going to say the song name. And so since in this case there's 2 rim shots, it'll just play the first rim shot. Unfortunately, you know, there are certain circumstances where maybe you do want that. And I can, if there's a bunch of people wanting that feature, we can add that later. Let's see here, what else? Well, numbers, right? So numbers was something, the Amazon Echo actually will put the literal number, spell it out, in other words, so 4 would be FOUR, right? Well, that's a problem because Google now actually just spits out the number 4, the integer. And so for this default search criteria, it'll always default just to putting an integer. And that's also done on that sentence that it receives when you say to play some content. So that way the 2 will still match up. You don't have to do any thinking. Well, you do have to think hard enough to remember the song name. But aside from that, it should be relatively foolproof. And if there's something that's not quite working for you, like maybe that one, you could just come here and say, hey, sugar, or you can put the original one. And then also case doesn't matter. That's how I did the regular expressions here. So it's not case sensitive. It doesn't matter if you capitalize it or not. But so you could do something like that if you had a problem playing this song. And so we can test a couple of these. The only weird one is if you're trying to play, if you want to play like a certain season, right, of a TV show. So say you want to play season 8 of Doctor Who. Well, if you just said play season 8 of Doctor Who, things aren't going to work right. Unfortunately, that's the way I coded it. That's the only gotcha. So you'd want to say just play series, so the system knows to look for the series Doctor Who, and then it'll automatically detect from that the season 8 part. It'll pull that out and detect you're wanting to play season 8. And I had to do it that way just to make the coding easier, really. And it has to do with just how these guys are structured, right? So you have a folder here. The default search is Doctor Who. So that's a series folder, right? See that there? So that'll get matched. And then the script needs to know what season folder. And it'll start playing the season in order. So it'll start with the library ID 1, right? And it'll go on down. And I'll probably never use that, so I don't want to spend much more time. But that's the only weird one, right? The rest of them are pretty easy to use. So you could say play song on and on in the master bedroom. And it'll go through and start playing. So you can hear it playing right there. So I'm actually show you real quick on the media zone. So you can see it playing down there. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. So you see it playing down there. You can see the progress increasing. Premise actually found the content just fine. And I've tested this on my other system where I have 2,000 songs. Now the one deal breaker, so to speak, is if you have multiple songs with the same name, you're going to want to go and use that user definable search and make them mutually exclusive. And that'll take care of it. So that's just something the user is going to have to do. But it should work for a majority of your songs and movies just out of the box, which is really cool, I think. for something that you can go and change and modify just in VB script. So I'm going to hit stop here. So notice I hit stop, and down here you saw KODI, the KODI device went away. So it's no longer being played in this media zone. And you notice this play mode and now playing went to nothing. Again, that's because nothing's playing now, but I actually hit stop with the NVIDIA Shield remote. So that's kind of cool, I think. Let's see, so those are the kind of big picture items. So just to give you a couple more examples. You know, you could have said play album, right? And then whatever album number, or sorry, whatever album. So this one's Buddhism. So maybe that's something it can interpret. So you might fix that with a user-definable search that you define. But anyways, you get the idea. So that's how you do albums and songs. Channels are kind of a weird animal. Right, so this is a channel. I just kind of pasted this guy in here. But so when you do your channels, the default search NBC, that's not going to work because the Amazon Echo actually inserts spaces. I don't think the Google Now search did. So you'll want to do something like this. N space B space C or just NBC altogether. And that way that channel can be played just by saying play channel NBC in the master bedroom or whatever location. That's one thing I didn't talk about. The location obviously has to have a media zone capable of playing the content. I guess I hadn't said that yet, but I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So here, if for the living room, you'd have to add a PVR object and put a KODI box in there. Or if it's channels, it should work with, you know, normal TV if you've set the module up correctly for the television. So let's see here. I think that about wraps this video up as far as the ins and outs of getting KODI Media to play. I guess I wasn't really explicit with it in the first video, but you know, like all the transport commands are these guys here. Those are all implemented, so you can say, you know, just whatever order you want. The only time it's order dependent is when you play media content, okay? Everything else will just work as normal if no media content was found that matches your request. So that's what this first regular expression does. Then it goes on, and there's a bunch of just, in case there's some issues about Google Now misinterprets words. Over time, I've built these up. Like sometimes enable would get interpreted as and able by Google Now, so that's what that one does, but you get the idea. But after it does all that, it'll run the global scripts I talked about in the 7.1 video where we went through and played with it. So the KODI transport commands and play, stop, and even the menu navigation commands, those all work. You just say them verbally, just in a natural fashion, and they should work fine for you. But you do have to say the room location where the KODI box is. But you don't have to say, to do it for the KODI box if say the KODI box is already selected as a source. The script will actually be smart enough now to go through and find what the current source is. So say you said press stop in the master bedroom. So it'd find this location. It'd find the media zone because you're saying stop. And then it'd find out which source device is selected, and then it would send stop to KODI. So that's all you'd have to say for something like that. Or you could get specific and you could tell it, press stop for the KODI box. And since KODI's in the display name, you'd say press stop for the KODI box in the master bedroom. So it'd go ahead and actually find this, and it'd go issue the stop command to the bound device object, all automatically. So that all still works. The purpose of this video was just to show you how to set up these media content items for voice search. And they're actually generic. You don't have to use it with a KODI box. So this is just a generic premise television provider. And that's what I was showing you at the beginning. You can just do the same thing with it. And it'll work with just a regular television if there's a module that's been built to take the channel commands and issue them correctly over like a serial port or over Ethernet or infrared. So that wraps up this video, guys. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. Thanks for watching.